Hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to another edition of the Future Sox podcast. My name is Ian Eskridge. Joining me over here is James Fox. How are you, James?
I'm good, man. I feel like we did this a couple times already today. It's kind of
Number
interesting.
three.
Yeah.
Just keep lining them up. We'll keep knocking them down. So we just decided we had a an appointment pop through and have an emergency today, so we have to reschedule that one. So we figured there's actually some stuff going on that's been happening with some of the minor league guys today. So we figured we'd pop on and do a little impromptu thing, um, and figured we'd answer some of these issues that have been going on. So right off the bat, Husky Bardo pops in and he asks, "Who's next man up if someone gets hurt in the rotation?" And this is a good question because today, earlier in his AAA start, Drew Thorpe left his game in the second inning before the second inning started with elbow discomfort. So where he was competing, at least you would think he was pretty much a lot. If he was healthy, he would be a lock to get into the major league starting rotation. So the question comes, we had Shane Smith that's taken up a spot. So I mean, do you think that the next man up is Bryce Wilson, as he was who we had slotted to take that spot in the first place?
Yeah, my thought would be he's probably the next guy in because then you could just replace him with a different reliever. I mean, there were some tweets today too about Jairo Iriarte looking pretty good, like during his like minor league backfield game, whatever you want to say. So, I think he's in Charlotte. Obviously, as far as I know, Nick Nastrini is serving as major league starting pitching depth right now. He's not being moved to the bullpen or anything yet. So, I would say like those two guys. So what Wilson, Iriarte, Nastrini probably is what we're looking at here. I mean, if you get in a real bind, you could start Jonathan Heasley because the 2025 season really just doesn't matter all that much, right? But yeah, I think that's where we're at this point. And then obviously, like, you have like what Jake Eater is in Charlotte. I don't know what that role is going to be. I feel like that might be a bullpen role. Y- you know, there's a lot of guys hurt. I mean, we would have said Mason Adams and Kai Bush, but obviously both are on the shelf as of right now. And even like a guy like Juan Carella, who was on the 40 man, is also, had Tommy John. So yeah, it's been kind of a rough spring as far as injuries go, but that's why you need a whole bunch of these guys as we've kind of talked about.
Yeah, I had somebody mention to me earlier on Facebook, was saying, "Oh, well, give it 60 days and Thorpe's going to be getting TJ." And I just, like I said, yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible, but I mean, he had a bone spur cleaned up off of his elbow, and per the organization, it's never been a UCL thing. So him immediately, to immediately take the jump to thinking that he's going to have TJ, I think is a little bit premature here. I would like to think that possibly maybe there's some debris in the elbow that's causing discomfort still, and maybe that's the issue. I mean, I don't, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but I would hope that we're not looking at another TJ out of
Yeah,
this
and
stable of.
I mean, his MRIs have mostly been clean. That's why it was just like weird, I don't know. I mean, but look, I mean, it sucks for all these guys. It's not the worst time for it, obviously. Like, you don't want this to happen like when they're good. So, if it is a lost season for a bunch of them, we'll be doing this podcast hopefully next year at this time, like talking about like some of these guys like coming back soon, which, you know, when they're a little bit closer to winning. But yeah, no, I mean, it kind of dampens things, especially when I think you wanted to see Drew Thorpe was the headliner of the Dylan Cease trade. And I just, even with this, even if it's minor, it doesn't seem like we're gonna see him soon now at this point. So that
Yeah.
part kind of stinks.
So Wolf Larson's asking, was Eater getting starter reps? I mean, he hasn't made starter innings
No.
in a game yet. But I mean, I have to imagine in his his side sessions, his bullpens that he's throwing, I would like to think that they're keeping him stretched out.
Well, because even in the like the spring breakout game, he was like a one inning guy. So I don't know. I mean, if they said that they were like converting him to relief right now, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't really know how the Charlotte rotation stacks up though with like all the injuries and the
Yeah.
rumors about the Birmingham rotation.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's a perfect segue for that information. So it was um, mentioned today by Bannister. It was Brian Bannister, right?
Well, so yeah, Brian Bannister like had a call with some of the media, and then James Fegan like on Blue Sky put out something that basically said that like Bannister insinuated today that Noah Schultz, Hagen Smith, Grant Taylor, and Wickham and Gonzalez would all be in the Birmingham rotation. And then I do believe Merkin wrote something about it as well.
I I don't know how to feel about that, and we've talked about this before. The big worry for me here is the Taylor innings.
Me too.
Um,
Like I think Hagen's probably fine. Like I thought Hagen Smith would take the opening day start in Winston and Schultz would take the opening day start in Birmingham, and then it would just kind of be a fait accompli. Like 4 starts later, Smith is in Birmingham anyway. So that one I think is probably fine. Like it doesn't matter. He's gonna be on a 5-day turn as like the number 2 starter behind Schultz or whatever. Maybe the number 1 starter and Schultz is the number 2. I don't know. But I mean, the whole thing for those guys is they're supposed to be pitching every 5 days, taking their normal rotation turn, and I just don't know that Grant Taylor is necessarily going to do that. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know if he's going to do the Noah Schultz pitch every week thing or only go 4 innings or whatever. But yeah, I mean you're going to have to massage his innings in a rotation of guys that are really important that need to stay on turn.
yeah, I guess my thinking here is that my original thinking was that you were going to have Taylor following Hagen at least for the first month of the season. And if obviously, I figure Hagen Smith is going to move to Double A. Right after that was my thought, but then you are allowed the possibility of keeping Taylor in advanced A to allow him to like they did with Noah last year, where he was just getting his innings in, and you watched right from the get go that he was overpowering the advanced day hitters. I mean, it was not a contest. I think at most he gave up like 3 hits or something like that in one start. So that allows you to let him get some innings under his belt. And then if you feel like he's not being challenged, then you move him up just like they did with Noah. I think I don't know. To me, it just seems like it's a pretty aggressive assignment right out of the gate.
Well, and Grant Taylor hasn't even pitched at Winston. Like he's got to go from 19 innings at Kannapolis to Birmingham. Which look, I mean, you watched him pitch in spring, and people watched him pitch in the spring. Like he can probably handle it. Like his stuff is good enough. Where I think he would have went to Winston and kind of probably shoved too. I just thought that they would kind of do that and then do the promotions. But look, they do have like a bunch of lower level pitching and other even like recent college picks who could all just be in the rotation at Winston-Salem. So maybe that's just their thought process. They're going to put as much high end talent in Birmingham as they can. But then I think there's questions there too about like how quickly are you going to move this thing? Are they going to be more aggressive like for 2026 than maybe some of us were anticipating?
Yeah, and I think this is an interesting conversation as well, because you do have all that college age pitching that you need to get innings. You also have guys that are going to be returning from injury. Cole Seamus is going to be coming back here at some point. Connor McCullough as well, also going to be coming back. Um, so I mean, there are going to be innings to be had in the lower levels. So I don't think it's really a question of can they fill the rotations down in the lower spots. I mean, I think that that's should be fairly simple. Um, I will say I feel kind of bad for Pat Leland because now he's not going to have Hagen Smith or Grant Taylor to anchor that rotation, which was something that we kind of thought was a given right out of the gate, that he would be given, this starting pitching that was just like devastating right out of the gate. I mean, they would get promoted eventually, but at
Right,
least
but
it
he'd
would
have
give
it for
him
a
an
bit.
yeah, it would give him like a nice like soft landing, if you will, of sorts.
Yeah,
Um,
it's probably not all bad, right? Because he'll have what? He'll have Aldrin Bautista. He'll probably have like Seth Keener if he's healthy. He'll have Lucas Gordon in that
yeah,
rotation, who's a polished college arm. You might have Tanner McDougal. So sorry. He just yeah. And then Kannapolis, like I'm just curious to see how many of the super young dudes they're willing to just give innings to in Kannapolis. Like, you have guys like Luis Reyes who was in Arizona. You have Christian Opper who
Hopper, yeah,
has not made his full season debut yet. You
Lacombe,
know, yeah, Matthias Lacombe, who was the internet Brizuela, who was pretty good towards the end of
Brizuela, yeah,
last year, and then there
yep,
was, so there's a whole bunch of these guys. There's Tommy Vale down there. Yeah, I mean, there's just all sorts of guys. They took a couple in last year's draft, so yeah, I think it's just a matter of they're just going to push their talent to Birmingham. Then the question is like guys like Tyler Schweitzer, Riley Gowans, are they just in Charlotte? You know, like are those guys like does Tyler Schweitzer benefit from all these injuries because he's the next like closest to big league ready back end type guy who probably will be given a chance if he's pretty good in the minors because there's no reason not to, especially because I think he's Rule 5 eligible this coming December. I mean, does he effectively replace your Mason Adams, Kai Bush, go to Charlotte and see what happens?
yeah. It's crazy how quickly that just the amount of depth that they had, just how quickly it's just kind of dwindled here, just due to you know what, five, four Tommy Johns and
Right.
Drew Thorpe elbow injury and
Mhm.
Mason Adams elbow injury, and we still don't have answers on that as well. Um,
I mean, the good thing is
yeah,
that it stays as organizational pitching depth, right? Because like it's not like I mean, they'll come back, like it'll be fine. Like pitchers get hurt, right? And they don't always come back the same, and some of them come back better, and we'll see all of that. But it's not like these guys have Tommy John and then they're out of your organization. You just have to get through a minor league season somehow.
yeah. So last thing that I had, just as a topic here to do this short stream here, was that Shane Smith has been added to the rotation. What's up, Trey? How you doing? Shane Smith just got added to the rotation. So, well, actually, he got added to the 26 man, but we are hearing
Yeah, he's in the rotation.
rumors
Yeah, you heard
that
it
he
here.
is part of the rotation.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting.
I do know people that maybe want to go see Shane Smith pitch, like people close to him potentially. They don't know necessarily when he's going to start. So, like April 1st is their fifth game, but they don't necessarily need the fifth starter to start that game. So I don't know what I don't know how they're gonna really approach this or not. You know what I mean? Like, did they skip him the first turn? Did they just go with it and give Burke extra rest? I'm not really sure. I mean, I think those are some of the questions we'll get answered over the next week.
Yeah. So for those of you that are listening that follow all of Future Sox's podcasts, Hot Takes and Heaters was gone last night because one of our guys got pneumonia. So uh, they will be back on next week for Hot Takes and Heaters, and
Yeah.
they will be hopping on, and they hopefully. And James and I talked about this off stream because we don't know for 100% that this is that we will actually have the full roster, but they should have the full roster when they go on, literally about 12 hours
Yeah.
before the home opener here.
Well, we should have like roster moves as far as like we'll know who's been like sent down to minor league camp and we should know who's been added to the 40 man, right? So, that sort of thing. I forgot that you told me that he had pneumonia. I assumed that Jacob just got sick from eating one of those disgusting horseshoes because he lives down in the Springfield area, and those things are gross.
Horseshoes?
Yeah, you know what that is?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. So it's like this, think of like a meat plate with French fries like all over it, and then just like disgusting brown gravy like poured over the top of it, where you have to
Huh.
eat it with like a fork. Yeah, they eat these things down in Springfield where he's from. So
Well,
we
I
went to a
mean,
we went to a coaching clinic down there one time, and this will only take a second. And like three of my football coaching buddies like ordered this monstrosity, and I got a double cheeseburger, and it was like one of the best decisions I ever made. So
hmm. I mean, I'm not going to talk bad about regional delicacy, because the first time I heard about poutine,
yeah, it's kind of
I th-
like poutine actually. Yeah,
I
like
was the first time I heard about it, I was like, French fries, gravy, and cheese curds.
yeah,
It's like, who would do that? And then I went, bopping around down the road, and I go to Montreal, and there's a poutine place right around the corner from this place, Club Soda, up in Montreal. And I walked over there and I grabbed some, and it was one of the most delicious things I've ever had in my entire life. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe the horseshoe at some other place other than where you went to.
yeah.
Maybe it's awesome. I don't
Maybe
know.
it'll cure his pneumonia.
I mean, it could. You
Yeah.
never know, right?
Yeah. So obviously Sunday we're gonna come back live with Connor McKnight where we'll do kind of a baseball preview, but we will not be on then again until the following Sunday. So any just quick like I don't know if you've glanced over the roster. I was trying to break it down a little bit today because I do think there's some locks like on this team. I think the final bullpen spot I think is gonna come down to some combination of like two of Jordan Leisure, Frazier Ellard, and Tyler Gilbert. I feel like Gilbert's on the team because of what they traded for him. But do you go with the third lefty and Frazier Ellard, or do you let Jordan Leisure make the team? I just kind of think that that's probably the decision at this point. I think they're going to add Mike Clevenger, which people are not in love with, obviously, but that seems like it's happening. And then you have your Gus Varlands and Penn Murphys. Like I think the bullpen's pretty set, other than those last couple guys.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, personal things aside, Clevenger's been pretty solid
It's
in
a
his
lot of
appearances
pitches
in
too in
spring training.
relief. Like he's just throwing his whole arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Throwing his full arsenal, and I feel like the stuff is playing up, and he's missing quite a few way more bats than I'm used to seeing him miss.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is that, whatever, your personal feelings might be on this thing. A couple of other things. Wolf Larson mentions, how is Josh Rojas's toe?
I think did he say
Um,
he's going to play through it? It's just a pain tolerance thing, I believe.
yeah, it's a fracture
Yeah.
in his big toe.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably doesn't feel good.
No, it probably
So, I
doesn't
mean,
feel
there's
great.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially,
So,
it's in his right foot,
yeah,
or is it in
front.
his?
I think it's his front
It's
foot.
his land foot.
Yeah,
Okay.
front foot. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
He hits lefty, right? Yeah, front foot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be his front plant foot. I mean, and yeah, I mean, I guess no matter which direct, I mean, feet when hitting, that's a important thing for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. If they want to let him do it, I
Mhm.
mean, like, make him sit for 2 weeks and let it heal, and then just come
Right.
back.
Yeah.
Like,
And
why?
it does
Like, why are we even doing this?
I know. And it does seem like on the offensive side like they might just let Andrew Benintendi and Austin Slater make this team after not having many spring training reps. Um
Yeah,
so
Benintendi started games today.
yeah, so then it starts to get to be where like I don't know how many roster spots they have cuz Vaughn at first, Vargas at third, you got two catchers, you got five outfielders. I mean, your last few spots are like Lenyn Sosa's out of options. I think he's probably on the team, but
I think so.
Josh Rojas is also probably going to play some second and short. He's on the team. I would think Brandon Drury gets added to the 40 man and makes the team. So then, you're talking about Jake Amaya, Brooks Baldwin, and Mydroth for maybe one spot. Mydroth's not on the 40 man. Um, so I don't know,
I
you know?
after, conversations and performance, I'm still thinking that it's gonna be Baldwin that gets that spot, but, I could be wrong. I mean,
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
see.
when guys like Jim Callis come on local radio and say that they expect Mydroth to be the opening day shortstop, like I, kind of listen to that. But yeah, I mean, he's hitting 100 and he's not on the 40 man, so I don't really think he has much to prove in Charlotte. But like I could see them just not wanting to make the addition yet, sending him down, and then in a couple weeks he's there or something, and it's not even a service time thing because he's not, like that's not important with somebody like him. They just literally might not want to cut somebody to have him on the team after the spring that he had.
Yeah, I mean, but I will remind you that Jim Callis is also the guy who told us that Brooks Baldwin was their favorite guy in the system
That's what
almost.
I mean. Like I feel like somebody
So,
told him, "Hey, watch my draw. He's going to be the shortstop." Otherwise, he doesn't say things like that.
yeah, I
But
don't
that
know.
was
They
also
like both
before.
guys.
But that was also before he had some of these issues. And I think I don't think they're worried about I don't think Brooks Baldwin is a guy who we have to be like, "Oh man, he needs to play every day." Cuz his big league role is going to be utility guy most
Yeah,
likely,
no, for
right?
sure.
So if it's that it's not like he needs at bats in Charlotte, if he's not playing all the time.
Yeah. No, that is true. Also, another move that was made earlier today, Oscar Colas was sent packing to AAA. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I don't even I don't know. I don't even know that he is necessarily safe in AAA. I don't it just seems like a waste of time at this point.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I mean, to be plain, just completely honest here, I don't feel like I've seen any improvement in his game since he came to the White Sox. In fact, I would
I
say
think he's worse.
I think that he has actually gotten worse since being with the White Sox,
Yeah,
and I
I would
don't
agree.
think it's the instruction.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably kind of tough, but I just it's also like what do you want to do with this roster, right? Cuz I feel like Wilfred Barris might go to Charlotte and he's semi important, right? So then how many of these non-roster invite outfielders are you sending to Charlotte and are they a priority, right? Like is Cal Mitchell in Charlotte? Is Maton in Charlotte? Like are these guys and obviously you have a couple of guys in your org already who some Jolks is on the team and Deloach is on the team. They're not on the 40 man, but they're probably on that Charlotte team. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the weird thing is that over the last couple of years, we got who was that we got last year? Was it Chad Pinder?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we signed Chad Pinder to be on the Knights. They signed Rafael Ortega. They signed. I mean, there
Yeah,
was
there was
just so.
a whole bunch of
y-
veteran type guys. Yeah.
Yeah, they always do this every year. So I mean, maybe this year they don't. Because they finally have come to the place in the
Right.
roster where they think that they actually have to figure out what they have and
Yeah.
know whether or not they're worth keeping because they're all so close to the Rule
What is the
5.
status of is Bobby Dahlbeck in minor league camp or is he still up?
You know,
I don't remember seeing the reassignment.
I don't think he's been
Um
reassigned yet, but
okay.
you know what? Maybe he. Hold on,
But
I will find that.
The Charlotte season starts next Friday, correct? Like the same I think it's right around the same time as or next Thursday. It's right around the same time. So I would
It's
think that we have
close.
that roster uh probably by the afternoon of the first game, hopefully.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, basically anytime there is a White Sox affiliate, or I mean even the White Sox for that matter, anytime there's a roster announcement, like the full roster announcement, they don't release it until
What I will
basically the
say,
first day.
do you remember last year though they did it in a very timely manner. It was the first time in since I've ever done this that it was
Yeah.
I think it might have been 48 hours prior. I was stunned. I was like if Chris Getz can do this, I'm a big winner here. Like
But and I'm going to tell you exactly why that happened. Do you know why that happened?
Why they were early last year?
Why they put them out in a reasonable amount of time?
I don't.
Because I had the rosters 2.5 weeks beforehand.
Oh yeah, well
That's
of
why.
course. I'm hoping we have them again so we can write our
Yeah.
previews.
If I had not done that, if I had not gotten lucky with that last year, they would have done it on the same day. I mean, like when we were talking to Andrew Murphy, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, how do you know?"
Well, I always usually have rosters pre-written and then I wait to publish until they publish or get the go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want the info so I can write. Like
Yeah.
that's all the only part
100%.
I care about, you know. So
I have looked through
yeah, I don't think he's been
about
cut. I mean, the
he is
transactions
not.
page is probably all you would need, but yeah.
Yeah, I
So
guess I could have done
yeah,
that too.
so there are some guys who theoretically, like him, what is it Nick? It's Nick Maton, right? Like
Yeah, Nick
Nick
Maton.
Maton, like
Yeah.
so I mean like technically like these guys I guess could still make the team in theory. Um
I mean,
he's been good.
Maton, he's done some things.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. I mean, he was like
Yeah.
played for the Norfolk Tides last year. Like he played every game.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you
And
know,
he hit probably 4 or 5 home runs against the Knights last year.
yeah, he'll like Charlotte, I think.
I mean, that's the thing though, is that these guys always come into Charlotte and they hit bombs. I don't know if we sign them if it's going to be the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we talk Sunday about Sean Burke or no? Or do we not know it yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, how about that? That was
Yeah, that's interesting.
good for him. That's cool. I think Chris Getz has a thing, right? Where he's like, which guy has the best stuff? Okay, start him opening day.
Yeah, it was announced on Monday because I remember Chirizi and Beef talking about it on the Au Jus
Yeah.
that day. So
Yeah.
it was
So I
announced
think
on Monday.
I think it's safe to say like Burke has probably the best stuff in the rotation currently. It's just he hasn't harnessed it all the time, and apparently he's had a good camp, and they're happy with it. And well, Shane Smith might have the best stuff, but
That's
you know,
I was gonna
we
say
will
something, but
we will see. Yes,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'm glad we're out. Like we're going to opening day. I'm glad it's Sean Burke and not Martin Perez, right? I mean, I
yes,
don't need to see that. So all
yeah,
good
and
there.
and Martin Perez looked great again today.
Yeah, I just don't care. Right. Like, yeah, it's like
Right,
if I'm
it
gonna
just
be there, I don't yeah. I'd rather see a prospect pitch.
yeah, as they say, it's inconsequential, you know.
Right.
So
I hope he's great and they get a prospect for him. But
hey, look at this.
I don't need to be in attendance for his starts.
Colton says the MLB Network was nice and gave the White Sox a 62 and 100
Dude,
record.
that would be a fun season, I think.
I'm hoping. I told Beef I was hoping for 63.
I
That
heard
way we
that.
could avoid
So you could be
losing
63 and
100.
90, but I still want to be the worst record in baseball.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Or
I don't.
bottom 3. Cuz the
Yeah,
good thing about like if you could stay bottom 3, the Rockies are also probably bottom 3 and they can't pick until 10th. They have the stupid rule this year against them. So
yep.
you're in good shape. So as long as you have a bottom 3 record, you're going to have pretty good odds and boy oh boy, like I don't want to get too involved in the 2026 draft class when we still have a 2025 draft, but the top of that class going to be fun.
Yeah, I we talked about this with Justin Latta from Lockdown Guardians. I feel like we're probably I don't think that there's any, assuming that they do good talent evaluation. I feel like no matter what they do at 10, there's still going to be plenty of guys
Yeah.
with huge upside
Yeah.
at 10.
I think the biggest thing is going to be like organizationally, and we'll talk about all this like in the lead up. Like, you know, are you opposed to taking another pitcher? Do you take a prep guy if it's the best guy, or are you trying to line up a college bat like with this quick moving core that you have? You know, so I think there's just and look like you want to take the best guy. Like I get it, right? But you know, sometimes it's like I like looking at it as how much talent can you get like with the totality of the 20 picks, right? So I think you told me there's a college bat they really like. That seems like the favorite right now, just because you could kind of see him playing with Teal and Caro and Montgomery and all these guys. But I mean, you know, I guess if there's a high school bat that's the best guy on the board, like you just do that and whatever. But
Well, I mean, if Ethan Holiday falls to 10, to me, I look at that as it's pretty much a no brainer at that point.
yeah, and it's settled a little bit where it's like I have no idea who the number one pick is. So the only thing I
Oh,
know is the number two pick will be the first guy to the majors. So that's all we know right now.
who was the guy who the White Sox drafted in the 19th or 20th round that didn't
Oh
sign?
yeah, Miles Bailey is at Florida State.
Yes. Have you seen him?
Yes,
Oh man,
that would have been
I'm
nice, right?
so mad. Well, I mean, we
We knew it
talked
wasn't going
about
to
this.
happen. Yeah,
I
but
was super psyched. I was like, maybe they have one of those George Wolkout deals where they,
yeah,
are saving a bunch of money and they're just going to pay him, but they're going to draft him super late. No, that did not happen, and now he's hitting tanks at Florida State, and he
as a
looks like an
freshman.
absolute monster. Yeah.
Have you seen who's the Japanese kid that's playing college baseball? He's
Oh, I
awesome too.
forget what his name is. Yeah, he's been.
Rintaro or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm curious to see how much of a like commonality that becomes, right? Like how many guys from the Pacific Rim are just going to start coming to U.S. colleges and playing college baseball.
Well, I mean, if Riku Nishida has his way, there's going to be a bunch
I know
because,
that's his plan,
he's,
right? Yeah,
yeah, if you guys haven't paid attention to his social media, like one of the things that he's really trying to do is he's trying to get Japanese born players. I don't know if he's hitting Korea and Taiwan and all that, but at least Japanese born players, he's trying to get them to do exactly what he did at Oregon, which is come over here, play baseball in college here, and hopefully get drafted. So it's
yeah,
a pretty neat little program. So um,
pretty interesting. So we're gonna have a couple of podcasts out like over the next few days. So we recorded an episode with Dan Hayes that's already available if you're listening to this show. Highly
awesome.
recommend.
Oh yeah, I guess if
Yeah.
I release
Yes.
this in the
Yes.
morning, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Highly recommend that one just because, there were some stories on there. There's lots of stuff about Justin Ishbia and the White Sox. He sets the record straight on some rumors that the White Sox were able to get Luke Keeschel from the Twins. That whole thing was ridiculous at last trade deadline. So that one's a must listen in addition, to this one, obviously. And we got Connor McKnight this weekend.
yeah. So those of you who are watching this in streaming form, just know that when I release this video or as a podcast, there's going to be our Ale Central preview with Justin Lotta from Locked On Guardians stitched onto the back of this. So that will continue our series tomorrow morning at 4:30 in the morning. Dan Hayes episode, and then we are in the process right now of rescheduling the Royals Ale Central preview, and we'll get that one out here shortly. So, do you have anything else here, James? All right. Well, thanks for hopping on, guys. We appreciate it. Hopping on for this little impromptu jam session here. Um, it says Elijah was fired up about Bonner on
Good.
there.
I mean, so Elijah's the only one of us that's like seen him in person. So
Yeah,
I haven't really got a chance to talk to him about it. So that's interesting.
yeah. We'll definitely talk about it on opening day. That is for sure. And you know, I mean, Sunday's coming up before then when we'll be talking to Connor McKnight. But just know that a bunch of the Future Sox guys are going to be walking around before opening day. So if you see us, say hi. All right. My name is Ian Eskridge at Daily White Sox. He is James Fox at James Fox 917. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out, and hopping in the chat. Uh, if you're listening to this in podcast form, know that we hop on YouTube and we do these streams live um, at FutureSox on Twitter. We appreciate you guys. You guys have a great night, and we'll catch up with you guys on Sunday. Thanks. Have a good one.